Good morning, everybody. It's time for another delicious edition of Texas Oatmeal. And today we're working on the Vanderhall because, of course. So we've had a lot of people wonder about, doing custom floor mats and a Vanderhall. I know it's really dark down here. You can't really see much, but you know, I've got the standard black carpet, right? And I've got these little caution tape things or whatever. Those are going to come up here in a second. One of our members, Chad, that you all know with Toothy, the shark mouth wrapped Vanderhall, he was toying with the idea of using a new material for floor mats, and he did them on Sarah's car, the Bubbles gray and black wrapped Vanderhall that she's got. He was toying with the idea of a new flooring, and he put something in hers that worked what appears to be really well. Durable material, something that's not super expensive, easy to cut and manipulate and put into the Vanderhall, although we all know that getting in the Vanderhall is tricky down there. It's kind of a tight spot. What he's found is a boat material for doing like boat flooring. It's like a super hard cell foam, rubber kind of material, and it comes in a bunch of different colors. This is what I've got going right now. This is actually a dark gray with a black stripes in the middle of it. It's like a 3D material, so it's like the foam, the gray foam is actually thicker than the black foam is down in here. And so a lot of their patterns are like that, where, you know, it's whatever this pattern itself is. I'm sure there's a reason for them to have the pattern actually dip down into the material or whatever, but I don't know. But it's got double-sided tape on the back of it. You peel off the backing and stick this down. Supposedly the sticky backing is like crazy, like extra sticky. So we're about to find out. I'm going to show you how I installed mine, as I haven't done it yet. As you can see, this is enough material to do 2 Vanderhalls very easily. This comes in a 35 and like a half by 94.5 inch length, and at least in a early model Venice, like 17, 18, 19, they're all exactly 35 and, well, I say 35 and a half. They're maybe a little smaller than 35 and a half across in the foot area down there. So this material is like dang near perfect. But first I've got to take out the dead pedal, the driver's side and the passenger side, take those out. I'm going to take up my stripes because they need to be redone anyways, but I think I'm going to maybe run this material from the firewall all the way down and up over the hump, I think. I don't really know because I've got to play with how flexible it is and how it will lay in there. And if it lays in there fine going down this or whatever, great. If not, like on Chad's, or actually on Sarah's, she's got the dead pedal or the traction plate installed, and it comes down along this edge here, and it allowed him to tuck the material all the way up underneath the very edge of the metal, and give it like a super finished look. It looks amazing. So if you have the traction plate here, you can do just from the firewall down and back and end it under there, and it's like perfect. But for me, since I don't have that, I'm going to try to go all the way to the seats and see how it goes. It should fit under the little lever for sliding the seat back and forth. Shouldn't affect that because this stuff's really, really thin, like 3/16. So I think it's going to be okay there. I don't really know. But again, trial and error. I'll let you know how it goes. But first, jumping down there and getting those out and then pulling the carpet out and so on and so forth. So we'll skip right to that. Okay, so carpet removed. You can see it's very dirty down here. And I'm going to have to super clean all this, of course, because you don't want to stick down anything to this dirty floor. Of course, I still need to remove my yellow and black caution stripes. But the only thing you have to actually remove after you pull the carpet out are these little tabs, these little buttons. They're screwed straight into the floor of the Vanderhall, and they just stick out of the floor. Have you ever looked underneath your Vanderhall, at least on these early models, this is the kind of stuff, they just screw it straight through the aluminum, and it literally sticks out the bottom of the car. Probably not the best design, but there's quite a few of them that snap your flooring down or your carpet down. So you take all those out. I was actually missing one already. So yeah, so now I'm gonna completely measure up like all my dimensions and see exactly where I need to go up to basically the steering column, or the steering shaft that goes in through the firewall. I'm going to go up to that. The carpet actually goes up and around it, and it has this little cut. Like you could, these are the tabs that are on the back side. You can see where I screwed the dead pedal in, that I missed the hole, but whatever. So your factory carpet, yeah, sits in there like this. Look how dirty that thing is. So I didn't think about this. There's this little cutout here, because as it comes up and it starts to meet the firewall, they've got like a little triangular brace in there. Probably, I'm assuming it's a brace to make the corner more structural. But basically, I'm going to use this as a good template or pattern to lay on the new piece and get an idea of exactly where everything needs to line up. So I'm literally just going to lay this on there and trace this. But this is where it goes up past the steering column, or the steering shaft comes through here, through this area. I'm not going to bother with that. I'm going to stop my line straight underneath it, because that's all you really see underneath there. I mean, unless you get like way down looking in that area underneath the dash, you don't really see all of this all the way up. So I'm just going to make it simpler and come straight across that, so I can make that cut, these cuts. I think I'm gonna mess with it and see how it sticks down in there. It may stick okay. I remember Chad saying something about this. I might call and ask him. And then this cut straight down the middle, so that I can put it all in there just like it is. So I've got a straight cut here, straight cuts for this, straight cut across the top, and then I'll see what I need to do about these little triangle pieces. Not that any of this will be hard to cut. I mean, it's literally foam rubber, so it should cut pretty dang easily. So that's the next step. Make my little pattern. Alright, so I laid this on here and started to trace around the carpet a little bit, you know, but the carpet's not perfect, you know. I mean, it flares out right down here where it's gotten stretched and messed up or whatever. So I made some measurements on the inside of the actual car. You know, use this as a general quick layout to get like the corners right there, because those are kind of hard to measure exactly in the car. So I'm going to cut those. Those hide underneath the dead pedal plates, so those corners aren't a super big deal. I'm just going to cut them so that it'll lay super flat when I get it in there, so that they're not in the way, which is why they cut the carpet that way. So I'm going to cut those at the angle that the carpet is, and if it's not perfect, it doesn't matter. What I did in the middle is, you know, I moved the carpet out of the way and actually took some measurements and got some nice straight edges. You can see, like, this is the carpet line, this inside line, and it's like all wavy and terrible. So I made some measurements on the inside of the car and came up with exact dimensions from the side to the center here, so that it goes around that little center C channel thing that hides your transmission cable. So now I've got some perfect nice straight lines to cut. And what I did is I set my straight edge on here. Now if you had a longer straight edge, this would be better to cut all the way across, but you know, I did it in stages. But I just set this on here, like on the lines that I've drawn, and just used a brand new utility knife, you know, blade, cut right through it. I mean, it literally cuts through super easy, just on the concrete. I mean, I'm not worried about messing up the tip, because I can obviously put another blade in, but I just cut right through it. I mean, cuts like butter, using this as my guide so I don't have like any wonky cuts. I mean, just it cuts through in almost one pass. I did a second pass just to make sure I got all the way through the tape on the bottom side. So I'm going to cut this out around the transmission tunnel and the little plate that goes around the shift lever on these older models, so that it sits nice and flat and all that, and covers as much of it as I can. Alright, so I was test fitting this in here, and I was like, alright, cool, I've already wiped it all down. I wiped it down with alcohol before I did this last test fit, and I decided I'd go ahead and try to stick it down. So mine is, so I did this all in one piece, obviously, and cut out a chunk for the tunnel, and then cut around this so it would all be real seamless, except for right here. I actually split this down the middle of one of these grooves, so when it's all sitting in here, it'll still kind of look like it has a groove there, but it's actually the frame that you're seeing. I did that because you know, probably one of these cuts, as close as I got them, is off a little bit, or you know, and how Vanderhall is, I think some of these tabs might be off just a little bit, because I have an issue getting that little center tunnel cover bolted all the way back down a lot. So I think one of these tabs is off a little bit. But anyway, to get it to all line up perfectly and look beautiful, I went ahead and cut that so it had a little give, because it was off just like that tiny little bit. So anyways, I was going to go ahead and start sticking this down. I figured I probably ought to film this. I'm going to leave it laying in here and try to peel a bunch of this back to maybe the center of it and lay this side down, and then pick that end up and pull the rest of it out and lay it in. I think, I don't know how good that's gonna work but that's the idea. That's what I'm gonna try anyways, and if that fails miserably, then you know, hey, so be it. I think it's gonna work. The big trick is going to be getting it to lay flat on the angle that's going on right here down to the floor, and getting all that nice and tight and then push down and everything without this wanting to stick to the floor super hard right off the bat. I don't know if this is like, maybe you should do some Windex underneath it so it slides a little bit at first, but I'm just going to try it dry and see what happens. Alright, so here we go. This stuff is definitely sticky. Stuff on the way in the side. Alright, so obviously now that that's off, I'm going to line it up around the little transmission cover, whatever, for the transmission boot, the little cover. That's going to be my starting point, because that fits super tight and precise around there. So I'm going to start there and work my way inside there. Alright, so yeah, this stuff is definitely sticky on the back side of this for sure. Oh wow, yeah, it like immediately wants to stick. So I could see this being one of the more challenging parts of this, is getting this exactly right. So I'm gonna get it super tight up against that to get started. I'm gonna work my way this way with it. Yeah, that stuff is like instantly stuck. Which I imagine, I mean, this stuff, it says it's for like a boat or whatever. So imagine they want you to, this is gonna stick down really tight on that stuff. So I don't know. Alright, so this hasn't actually stuck down to the angle here, which is perfect, because I'm going to push it down here, work it down into that corner, and then flatten out. And just go evenly across it, working it down. Oh, this is looking so dang good. Yeah, you can feel it just really stick down on there. Oh yeah. Like as soon as I stick it down, it doesn't try to pick itself back up or anything. This stuff is stuck when you get it down there. Now again, I super cleaned this and then cleaned it again, you know, vacuumed it all, cleaned it, vacuumed it all, cleaned it. Alright, so the backing's all off this one side. It should stick down exactly. Yeah, it's still lining up real good along the edge here. So same thing, I'm going to go into this corner where it meets the firewall. Oh yeah. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I didn't get all the backing off of there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I was worried about finding the holes for the dead pedal, but you can feel them under this foam. Actually really easy, so that should be pretty easy to figure out. Alright, so that one side's down. Laying in there good. I can hear my cat scratching at the back door in there. Moody, stop it. So that's laying in there. It looks super bright on camera because the way this thing, you know, exposes in the dark, whatever. It's actually quite a bit darker than that in person here. Yeah, one side done. Peel the backing off the other side and get it to lay down. I'm sure going underneath that is gonna be fun. Here we go. All right, so she's in, looking dang good. So I didn't cut anything off the sides. I just cut the center channel around, you know, the transmission tunnel thing, and then around this. And then I went ahead and cut the center here because it was just, you know, something was off and it wasn't lining up perfectly. So closed that gap up there, but everything else didn't take any more cutting. Didn't cut anything off the sides, just used the factory edge that the stuff came with and cut a straight line across here where it goes under the seat sums. And that was it. So that's how it looks right now. I gotta put the dead pedals in and we're done. And that's it. We are done. It's blazingly hot out here. I've been sweating way too much today, but it is done. Look at that. Dead pedals back installed. Flooring in, looking good. So again, this is like some kind of boat material, at least used on boats anyways, for flooring for them. So it's like a foam rubber. It's made to get wet. So you're not gonna hurt it having it in the Vanderhall, so if it gets wet, it doesn't matter, right? It's made to be on a boat deck, totally fine. Again, it's some kind of just foam rubber. It's not anything special. Super easy to work with, super easy to cut. Pretty cheap actually, especially because you can get 2 Vanderhalls out of 1 roll. So if you know somebody that wants to split the cost of the roll with you, I mean, go for it. I'm sure somebody in our group will gladly take the rest of the roll from me for a fee. But yeah, that's it. Pretty simple install. Just a little heads up, when you go to put the dead pedals back in, I mean, literally all I did to find where they were, you could feel it. You could push on the foam pretty good, and you could feel where the little plastic nuts are that are pushed into the firewall. I felt around with those and I found something sharp to poke into it. I don't know that everybody's gonna have this. This is a needle that I have for airbrushing. It's just an old one that was all worn out. I just poked this through the material into the hole to find where the bolts go. You could use a screw, the end of a screw or something to poke through there, just to give you an idea where to start when you put the bolts back in. Now my bolts that go into the mounts for the traction plate are actually screws, like sharp pointed screws that go in there. I don't know if everybody's are like that. If they aren't, and you're trying to use like the flat bolts that go on the rest of the Vanderhall, the 6 mils, it would definitely be harder to get that to grab and go down in there. So you might actually want to change them out if they're not already. I don't know if everybody's comes with that. I really can't remember if I changed mine to the screws instead of the bolts because I found that was easier. It's been too long since I've done them. But it might be a good thing to change it out to a screw, and it'll just dig right in. And it's got to be a good screw, big enough screw that it'll grab that plastic and thread itself in there or whatever. But you know, you'll figure it out. I'll put the link down below for what the stuff is and how and where we got it. We got it on Amazon. There's tons of different choices. You can, like, you know, or on the Amazon page, you can go down and find the different patterns, different colors. There will be like similar items listed down below. You click on those. I mean, I just scrolled around until I found the darkest gray pattern that I could find, basically, that was just stripes. I didn't want any hexagons or anything with mine. I just wanted it to be straight lines. So I just goofed around until I found what I wanted. So yeah, so that's gonna be it. Just a quick little super easy install. I mean, I think it's well worth it. Cleans up everything, makes it all look custom. I mean, it is custom, but makes it like really fancy looking instead of the cheap carpet that's down there. So hopefully it lasts. I mean, again, it's boat deck material. It should last pretty good long time. We'll see. But it's cheap, and not that I would want to replace it again because that's a lot of work, but you could replace it again. Hell, if nobody wants my extra piece, I've got enough to do it again. So anyway, that's it for today. It's super hot. I'm going inside, getting a drink, getting in the AC. We'll see you next time. Peace.
You must be blinded by the lights. We came to shine here. Watch it look daytime in the night. We bring the vibe.